check. Branding is actually dangerous in the sense na we call it self-promotion. Why? For example, pastor ka na. Pastora ka na. And then the person na sinabihan mo, pastora ka na, will be, pastora pala ako. Pwede na ako. Pwede na. And then that person will start searching or running after that branding. Na, pastor na ako. Kaya ko na to. And it's actually lack of trust in God. Why? Because God's timing is always perfect. Pagka, when our mindset starts on that or dwells on that, we are actually doubting God's timing. So, we always need to get back into that kind of servant heart. No. It's always for the Lord and in His timing. Yan. Usually kasi kapag we are desiring that kind of ministry or any kind of ministry to be specific, it's not actually the promise of God that we are doubtful, but it is when yung timing. Minsan nagugustuhan natin na, now, I need it, I want it now. But the Lord's timing is always perfect. So, we need to simply trust God that He will take care of you, especially when these issues and situations are in front of you. Next. First is for us to have a heart of a servant. Okay? And then next, let's read in 33 to 37. Sundan niyo po ako habang binabasa. 33. Don't be ridiculous, Saul replied. There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy. Ano sa inyo? Young man. Sa ibang version? A man from his youth. And sa akin, boy. And he's been a man of war since his youth. At this point, I want to give you a background of what is actually happening in 1 Samuel chapter 17. So, this is actually a confrontation between the Philistine and the Israelite army. And for 40 days and 40 nights, itong si Goliath, palagi niyang tinotont or minamak ang Israel army. Ano? Sino? He's always in front and telling them, magpadala kayo kung sinong lalaban sa akin. Kung sino ang manalo sa akin, alipin ninyo yung buong Philistine army. And kung kayo ang matalo ko, alipin namin kayong lahat. So, si Goliath, sino nakakaalam kay Goliath? Anong itsura niya? Hindi kayo close. But as the Bible described him, he is a tall man. O medyo parang gano'n. Ang tangkad. Almost 3 meters in height. So wow, it was like, higante. As in, 3 meters, almost 3 meters in height. Balbong, balbong, kaya katawan. So whenever he's in front, palaging umaatras ang Israel army, ang army of God. So, ngayon, itong batang si batang David, imagine, the age of 8. Lumapit siya, dala-dala niya yung kanyang Hindi pa. Nandito tayo sa 7. Anong dala niya?
Keso.
Bread, basket. Inutusan siya di ba? Inutusan siya ng kanyang tatay. Di ba? Dala-dala niya yung kanyang basket. Di ba? Dala niya yung kanyang basket na may cheese at tinapay. And in this situation, or in this scenario, narinig niya na itong si Goliath ay hinahamon ang Israel army. So, ang kalokohan ng batang ito, ibinigay niya yung kanyang basket doon sa tagapangalaga ng mga gamit. Saglit lang, ha? Tapos siya ay pumunta doon sa army at nagtanong kung ano ang nangyayari. Anong nangyayari? This is actually what I like most about David. I encourage you to read this whole chapter of 17. Nakakatuwa yung story and try to imagine what's actually happening and how David was responding to each situation. So, nakita niya yung tension na nagagawa ni Goliath doon sa armies of God. Alam niya, simula sa kanyang pagkabata na ang Israel army ay ang army of God. Kasi yun ang pangako sa kanila. At gano'n siya pinalaki ni Jesse. Now, is actually, si Goliath, yun nga, 3 meters in height, almost 3 meters in height, balbunin. He's actually a big dude. Sabi nga nila, medyo mukhang bakulaw. Malaki eh. And then, he is actually cursing the so-called army of God. Israelite army. And David rose to that occasion. Imagine, again, a young boy rising up to that occasion. Wow, parang ako, I'm always amazed when I'm trying to imagine that young boy rose to that occasion na ayaw niyang maririnig na yung armies of God, na army of God, yung talagang tinalaga ng Panginoon, ay inaapi, kinukutya, minamak. So he rose to that occasion. At ang nakakatawa dito, if you're going to read it, kwento ko na lamang po sa inyo. If I'm going to imagine it correctly, yung nangyayari all of them actually mocked David. Ang sabi sa kanila, sabi nga ni Saul, hindi mo kaya yan. Pinagalitan pa siya ng kuya niya. After siyang sinabihan ni Saul, hindi mo kaya yan, ang laki niyan. Yung Pilistino yan. Tapos, ang nangyari pa, sinabihan siya ng kanyang kuya, uy, ikaw, alam ko yan nasa utak mo. Gusto mo lang manood ng laban. Umuwi ka na lang doon kay tatay. Umuwi ka na lang doon at alagaan mo yung mga tupa. Pero ang sabi ni David, hindi no, masama ba magtanong? So ang ginawa ni David, pagkatapos niya kausapin yung isa, lumipat siya sa kabilang kawan. Ano ba yung remark? Ano ba yung sabi? Ano sinasabi diyan? Ano ba nangyayari? Okay. So, nai-imagine ko rin na while he was saying all these things, parang siguro sinabihan siya ng kanyang kuya, kunin mo na yung keso mo, tinapay, umuwi ka na. Nakikusyoso ka pa dyan. Masama ba magtanong? Nagigess niyo yung turn of events? Kasi in my mind, it's like a movie going on. Parang nai-imagine ko siya. So, again, don't be ridiculous, Saul replied. There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy. He's been a man of war since his youth. Ibig sabihin, itong si Goliath, ang laki niya na, at siya ay trained for war in his young age. Now, binabasa ni Julia, natatawa siya. Now, the second point that I would like to encourage everybody is we need to build a history with God. Build a history. What happened here when David was asking or sniffing around? Ang sabi sa kanya, balik tayo sa 24. Basahin natin. From 24. As soon as the Israelite army saw him, they began to run away in fright. Have you seen the giant? The men asked. He comes out each day to defy Israel. The king has offered a what? A huge reward to anyone who kills him. He will, binabasa niyo po ba? He will give that man one of his daughters for a wife. And that man's entire family will be exempted from paying taxes. Siguro sa isip ni David, wow, prinsesa, kayamanan. The taxes! Wow! It's so nice to be exempted from taxes. So, he was sniffing around, asking all the people, what's wrong? What's happening? What can I do? What will I do? Paano nangyayari? Nagkusi-usi siya doon. Hanggang sa maabutan siya ng kanyang kuya, o ikaw, usyoso ka dyan. Kunin mo yung basket mo ng keso, umuwi ka na kay tatay. Nakikichismis ka pa. But one of the good things is, David actually had a history. Now, the problem with people, let's go back to our current time. The problem with us is we try to get good at something only when it really matters. For example, kung kailan ka may problema, tsaka ka magpe-pray. Kung kailan ka may pinagdadaanan, tsaka ka lalapit sa Panginoon, babasa ka ng Bible, Lord, ano nga bang sabi mo dito sa sitwasyon ito? Diba? The problem with us is, we only go or build our relationship with God when we need it. But with David, it was not the case. Now, athletes, malapit na laban ni Pacquiao. Diba? May 2, right? Ang laban ni Pacquiao. So, ang laban ni Pacquiao ay May 2. Anybody remembers when he started training? 2 months ago, right? I think. He started training ahead of time. Hindi yung 2 days, 1 week, 3 weeks before the event. Why? Because that's what athletes do. Technically, athletes, they spend hundreds of hours in training, exercises, and sparring. For example, in the case of Pacquiao, only for a few minutes of battle. Okay? In our lives, how much training do we prepare, or how much time in training do we spend for training for problems that will come our way? We only prepare when problems arrive. Now, let's be encouraged with the life of David. He's actually building a history. He's actually built with history. Now, basahin natin. Okay. 34. But David persisted. Matapos siyang kutsain or maliitin ni Saul, David actually responded, he persisted. I have been taking care of my father's sheep and goats, he said. When a lion or a bear comes to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after it with the club and rescue the lamb from its mouth. Wow. Hindi ko pa rin ma-imagine na at that age, kukuhanin niya yung lamb sa bibig ng leon or oso. Tuloy natin. If the animal turns on me, I catch it by its jaw and club it to death. Na-imagine nyo ba kung gaano kalapit mo dapat sa isang oso, isang leon para hawakan mo yung panga nito? Siguro ganyan lang. Ayan. Lapit, di ba? At that age. Wow. 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 Tuloy natin. I have done this to both lions and bears. And I'll do it to this pagan Philistine. Tapang ni David, no? The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine. Just try to imagine the tenacity or yung kabuuan ng loob ni David sa Panginoon niya. Na nagligtas sa kanya sa leon at sa oso, siya rin ang magliligtas sa kanya sa Philistine ito. Sa giant na ito. That kind of faith. He was already being built before. Trained siya in confronting wild beasts or animals. Sabi niya, kaya ko to. Nagawa ko na to. Sinamahan ako ng Panginoon sa mga osong